Hello everybody and welcome back to my Legend of Korra review series. My name is Necroxis, as you all know, and I have some weird thing going on with my hair. My hair is like, have you ever gotten that moment when you got a haircut and your hair is like, it's been like a couple of weeks and your hair is short enough where you can't do anything with it yet, but long enough that it's being ridiculous? That's what's going on here. So I didn't just wake up, trust me, my hair is just being crazy. Anyway, this episode was episode 4 for Legend of Korra called The Calling. And I have to say, I believe I said episode 2 was the best episode all season, and this one is very, very close, if not on the same level of awesomeness, I feel like. I really, really liked it. I didn't really have any complaints. I had one at the very end, but it's a subjective complaint that might not even be true, because the season isn't over yet, so I don't know. But let's get into it. We begin with Milo being a fantastic character, as always. I really liked him throughout this episode. I think he's great. He's very much becoming like an Aang light, although a little bit more, I guess, annoying if you want to say it like that, but I didn't find him annoying at all. I really, really liked him. My note here before I finished the episode was, I really hope they don't Deus Ex their way into finding Korra with Janora's undefined spirit abilities, whatever her spirit GPS that she has. I was really hoping they didn't do that. Luckily they didn't. They did, but they did it in a way that I was totally fine with. And my next note was, although now I noticed it, how have I not noticed this before? Milo's eyebrows are so ridiculous. I don't know why. They're absurd. And now I can't unsee that. Like, go back and watch anything with Milo. Why are his eyebrows so big? I noticed it like halfway through I noticed it when he was talking to that little girl who gave him a flower, and I was like, Milo, your mom needs to like tweeze your eyebrows or something, bro, because they're ridiculous. I don't know why. And then I'm glad they made it take a while for them to find Korra. They didn't find her till the very end of the episode. I was worried that they were just going to be like, spirit abilities go, and then find her immediately, that is how they would have done it last season, and this is why I think this season is way better than the last season, because they would have found her immediately, and then there would have been some other bullcrap plot that they had to force in, where, once again, I think the best compliment I can give to this episode is it very much felt like The Last Airbender episode. And because The Last Airbender was almost as close to perfect as I think you could get, and I don't think there were any episodes in The Last Airbender that were filler at all. I went back and watched it even recently. I don't think there's a single filler episode in that whole 3 seasons, which is amazing for any animation, anime, American animation, whatever. That's amazing. And I feel like this is how this episode comes off. There's plot that's going on. You may not think it's important plot, well, you probably do, but you may not think it's like bludgeoning you over the head, as in how blatant the plot is happening here. But there is things happening, and they feel important. And I really love this episode. I thought it was very great. We get back to Toph, and I just love her. I love how she undercuts all the things that she and Aang's group did. Like, it's no big deal. It's still like her as a character. Once again, the Beifongs are the best characters in this whole season, either series. I mean, honestly. So let's see. My next note was, did they ever mention that all of Tenzin's family were vegetarians? I don't know if they did, and I really like that they carried that over from Aang being a vegetarian. I thought that was pretty cool. A little subtle nod back to how they established, Aang being in the first series. Series and season, still not going to get that right. How Aang was in the first series. The entire scene with Ikki gaining the 2 guards' sympathy reminded me exactly like something I would see out of The Last Airbender. I'm sure there is a scene somewhere, I just can't remember, in The Last Airbender where somebody gets captured and someone does something to this effect where they gain the sympathy of the guards to the point that they basically were about to let her go before Milo and Janora jumped in and incapacitated them. I loved it. I thought that was great. It made the plot progress without me thinking they were doing this to make the plot progress. And I mean, when they got the map out and they were showing her where people are stationed, and they brought up Zhao Fu just kind of like offhandedly. They didn't make a big deal about it at all, actually. They kind of just mentioned it to remind you that's still happening. There's probably going to be some huge battle that's coming up there soon. They mentioned the swamp, and it felt really natural to me instead of, again, last season where I felt like they were just forcing plot in to try and get through as much of it as they possibly could. And this, I felt like it was totally natural, and I actually, that's probably my favorite scene. My second favorite scene of the entire episode. And so basically Iki kind of saves the day. I mean, at the end they kind of say Milo made Iki mad, so she ran off, and then Jinora found her spirit powers and found Korra. But really it was Iki who was the one who contributed the most to finding Korra, I felt like, out of all three of them. Milo really didn't do much but annoy everybody. Jinora couldn't even find Korra on her own. Korra had to reconnect with the spirit tree or whatever. And that's the only way that Jinora actually found her. Iki's the one that, got the information, found out where the swamp is, led them to the swamp. She definitely was the most contributive. And I really like this character. They didn't really do much with her in the first 3 seasons. She kind of was always there. She not even, I can't remember, it was Jinora, I believe, in the second season that got bullied by her 2 siblings and ran off. Yeah, it wasn't Iki. Yeah, they really haven't done much with her. I hope they do more. I kind of like her. She's Jinora's age now, what Jinora was last season, right? So they could be doing more with her. So I hope they do. I kind of like her. And then we get back to Toph, and she again nails another aspect of why I like a certain part of The Legend of Korra. She really explains and nails why I like the villains of this series. Even Zahir, when I ignore his power set, I like the ideology that he has. They go about having pretty good and fair ideas, equality, bringing the spirits back, freedom for people from tyrannical rule. But they go about it in the wrong way because they're fanatics. And in a way, they are way more interesting than Ozai was from the first series. Ozai was basically just like Hitler, and then he was unadulterated evil. He had no redeeming qualities. He was just the end-all, be-all bad. And I bring up Hitler because there are I'm not trying to Godwin my way into making him important, but there are a lot of similarities between the Nazis and the Fire Nation. If you hadn't figured that out yet, in the first series, you can go back and research it, and it's just blatant. It's so blatantly obvious. So Ozai was basically the Hitler of the series, of the universe, I guess, of Korra or Avatar. And so he wasn't interesting as a villain. I felt like he was just kind of this ominous, end of the road threat that has always existed and loomed over the entire show, which, for the show, it worked well in that regard. But comparing him to the villains of The Legend of Korra, I feel like all of them are way more interesting. So I really like it. And then we get another great callback to the first series where Pepper, the Sky Bison, gets pulled in to the swamp by the vines, exactly like what happens to Appa. Although Appa in the first series kind of gets tired and falls in there, but then the vines grab him. So I really like another callback. I love the subtle callbacks. I love the blatant callbacks. Whatever, just make the connection to The Last Airbender. That's fine with me. And so the plot progresses. I didn't really have too many notes about it because I was kind of enthralled in the story, like I mentioned last episode. When I'm invested in what's going on, I'm not making lots of notes. So once again, Toph has the best response out of either series when when Jinora Korra basically says, Jinora and blah blah blah, they're all here, and Toph is like, good. Hopefully they're here to take you home. And then Korra cures herself. I like that it took so long for that to happen. I didn't think it was such a hard thing to ask for, like last season, just to give the plot time to progress. Don't just introduce a problem and fix it immediately. It took us 4 episodes before Korra was able to even become the Avatar state again, and get all of the poison out of her body and clear her mind of all the craziness. Where in the first series, the last season, season 3, in the last season, what they would have done was introduce this problem. Next episode, they would have fixed it. Probably at the beginning of the episode. And then forced more crap in. So, it's good. You have to, it's good. They finally realized, I think, that the first series worked so well, and you have to let things kind of bubble and mellow and chill out for a while and get into the viewers' minds and make it seem important to us, because this was an important thing that happened, and I felt like it was an important thing that happened. I was happy that Korra cured herself. One of the first times in this series that I legitimately was like, yeah, Korra's back, because I have always found Korra horribly annoying and just the worst avatar that I think probably has ever existed. But now I'm kind of like, because she went through this emotional thing, she couldn't become the Avatar. In a way, it's kind of even worse. When I say become the Avatar, I mean the Avatar state. My brain just kind of shortcuts it. She couldn't become the Avatar state. And in a way, I feel like out of all the problems that have existed for Korra personally, not the villains, but personally her personal issues. This one was kind of the most important because the show made me feel like it mattered. They didn't make me feel like they were just gimping Korra because they needed her to be less powerful for the villain in order to be actually dangerous. Because if Korra was at full power, Amon probably would not have done any of the shit that he did. Unalaq would have been stopped like immediately. Zahir would have just been defeated like right away. But there were all these emotional and psychological problems Korra has had. And I never felt like any of them mattered because the show didn't make me care about them until now. So that's the point I'm trying to get across. The show is finally making me care about Korra. And it took them 4 seasons to get there, but I'm finally there. So good on Nick with that. And then we get to the end, and my only actual, I guess, criticism is that Toph didn't go with them. I was hoping that she would have some response when, I think it was Janora, whoever it was, said that in her presence, Toph was there, that Kuvira was marching on Zaofu. I would have thought that Toph would have been like, oh shit, let me go. Hopefully she still shows up. I hope she does. I don't want this to be the end of Toph this season, because we still have, 8 or 9 episodes to go. I think there's 13 episodes, or maybe 12, but we still have a lot of episodes to go, the vast majority of them, and I don't want them to just be like, hey, remember, we did Toph, we did her for 4 episodes, and now she's gone forever. I don't want that. I want to see her back. She doesn't have to be the main character. I'm not asking her to, usurp Korra as the main character of the show, but just be there and be important. Fill a role that Lin filled, in Season 1. Or, that Su Yin kind of filled in Season 3. Make her be there kind of a lot. Make her a significant player. But don't make her the main character. I just want her to be... I don't find it realistic even for Toph. For as, I guess, hardened as she is. Even though I wouldn't use hardened. I would use, more brash. For as brash or hardened as she is, she does care about her family. She does care about the world. I can't believe she wouldn't get involved with the Earth Kingdom getting taken over by a tyrant in her daughter's city that was founded by her daughter is getting attacked by this giant force. I can't believe she wouldn't go to help. Even with Toph and knowing everything about her, that just seems a little bit unrealistic. But I don't know. I don't know yet what they're gonna do. They could end up having her show up, so I can't criticize the show for again something they haven't done yet. I'll bring that up like I brought up last episode. So I'm hoping that they do it, but if they won't, I'll be disappointed. But yeah, other than that, I really loved the episode. I thought it was great. I had no gripes at all, really, with it. I did find Mila's eyebrows kind of annoying once I realized, why are they so big? Why are they so big? But, the episode as a whole was great. I would say I would put it on par with episode 2, which I've said, again, the best episode of the season so far. We got 2 and 4 now. They're doing very well. I just hope they keep going at this kind of quality because I'm really enjoying the show. Before last season, I would not feel bad if I missed episodes. I'd be like, oh, whatever. I'll just catch 3 episodes in a row next week or something. But I was out last night, so I never know when Nick releases them online on Fridays. I think it's noon. But then again, I never watch it on Nick, like I explained, because their player sucks. So I have to go to other places, and they never get them on until later in the day. So I was gone last night. I actually went and saw Brad Sherwood and Colin Mockery from Whose Line Is It Anyway? And I felt bad when I got home. I was like, I'm not going to watch Korra today. I'm going to have to watch it tomorrow. And I wanted to watch it today. So that's how I know I care about a show again. And that's how I felt about The Last Airbender. That's honestly how I felt about Season 1 of Korra, too. So I'm glad. I'm happy. Keep it going, Korra. Don't let me down. You're doing a great job thus far. And yeah. Thanks, guys. Let me know what you thought about anything I've said in this video in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you next week for whatever the episode is. Once again, I watch them on different places, so I never see the previews. So I expect we kind of have to go to Zaofu now, I think, because everything is going to Zaofu. And this already kind of feels like the final confrontation, but there's so much of the season left to go, so I said this in one of the comments of my videos. I don't even know if Kuvira is supposed to be the main villain of this season. Because it seems like we're getting to the final conflict already. And either Kuvira is going to get stopped right away, or she'll conquer Zaofu, and then we'll kind of have a Ba Sing Se-ish story arc like we did from Book 2 of Avatar, of The Last Airbender, where the kingdom's already conquered and they're going about trying to free people. I would be fine with either one, but it feels like we're getting... It's really soon to have this confrontation happening, which makes me think other things are going to be happening. So Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are too, and I'll see you next week for episode 5. Thanks, guys.